Here's something most buyers don't realize until they begin touring homes in El Dorado Hills. Two properties can have the same El Dorado Hills mailing address and create two completely different lifestyles. One home might be minutes away from Highway 50 and the town center. Another might sit higher in the hills, farther from shopping, with winding roads and wide open views. One neighborhood might have an HOA, community amenities, and newer construction. Another might have an older home, a larger lot, mature landscaping, and a completely different monthly cost. So the real question is not simply, should I move to El Dorado Hills? The better question is, which version of El Dorado Hills actually fits the way I want to live? Today, I'm going to explain what El Dorado Hills is really like, how the housing changes from one part of the community to another, and what daily life looks like, and the important details buyers should investigate before choosing a home here. Hi everyone, I'm Selena Garner, a local real estate agent serving the Greater Sacramento area. If you're considering a move to El Dorado Hills, Folsom, Roseville, Rocklin, or another community around the Greater Sacramento area, please feel free to reach out anytime. I help relocation buyers understand their options and make decisions based on their actual lifestyle, budget, and priorities. So let's start with something that surprises many people. El Dorado Hills is not actually a city. El Dorado Hills feels like a distinct town, but technically it is an unincorporated community within El Dorado County, and that means it does not have its own city government in the same way that, say, nearby Folsom does. El Dorado County handles many governmental responsibilities, while organizations such as the El Dorado Hills Community Services District provide local parks, recreation programs, facilities, and other community services. Why does that matter to a home buyer? Because you shouldn't assume that services, development decisions, road responsibilities, fees, and community rules operate exactly as they would inside of an incorporated city. When evaluating a property, find out which agencies serve it, which utilities apply, whether the road is publicly or privately maintained, and whether any planned development or infrastructure projects could affect the surrounding area. Now, this doesn't automatically make the buying process more complicated. It simply means that the property address alone doesn't tell you everything that you need to know. Which brings us to number 2. Your location within El Dorado Hills can change your daily life. Highway 50 is the main connection between El Dorado Hills, Folsom, and Sacramento. How quickly you can reach the highway can make a meaningful difference if you commute west regularly. A home that looks closer on a map may require additional time on local roads, especially when it sits deeper inside a hillside community. Some roads are wider and more direct, while other areas have curves, elevation changes, gates, or longer routes through the residential streets. Don't evaluate location by mileage alone. During your home search, drive the property to Highway 50, your workplace, your preferred grocery store, and the places you expect to visit regularly. Ideally, test those routes around the same hours you would normally travel them. El Dorado Transit does provide weekday services connecting El Dorado Hills with Folsom and downtown Sacramento, including commuter stops at local park and ride locations. However, the broader lifestyle remains much easier when you're comfortable driving. Number 3, there is no single El Dorado Hills home style. This is where the community becomes especially interesting for buyers. El Dorado Hills includes established residential villages, newer master plan neighborhoods, gated communities, custom homes, properties with significant elevation, and homes positioned closer to commercial areas and Highway 50. Communities such as Serrano and Blackstone represent the more master planned side of El Dorado Hills, with neighborhood amenities, common areas, association structures, and newer or more recent development. But that is only one part of the market. Other sections can have older architecture, larger lots, mature trees, fewer shared amenities, stunning views of the Sierras, the lake, or city lights, or they could have a less uniform appearance. And that variety is valuable, but it also means buyers should not decide whether they like El Dorado Hills after touring only 2 or 3 similar homes. Start by deciding what matters most. Do you want newer construction or an established home? Would you use community amenities enough to justify the association fees? Do you want a flatter property, or are you comfortable with sloped streets and hillsides? Would you prefer to be closer to the town center and Highway 50, or would you trade convenience for more separation and a different, more country setting? Those questions will narrow your search much faster than simply setting a price range online. Number 4, the town center is the main hub, the heart of the community, but it isn't a traditional downtown. El Dorado Hills Town Center is one of the most recognizable recognizable parts of the community. It includes quaint restaurants, shops, professional services, outdoor gathering spaces, and lots of seasonal events throughout the year. It gives residents a central place for dining, errands, markets, concerts, and community activities for both adults and families. But buyers relocating from a larger city should understand the difference between the town center and a traditional urban downtown. El Dorado Hills is primarily suburban. Most residents will drive between their homes, shopping, appointments, activities, and restaurants. Certain homes may be relatively close to commercial areas, but this is generally not a community where you should assume you can complete most daily errands on foot or by bicycle. If walkability, extensive public transportation, or a dense nightlife district is essential to you, carefully evaluate whether the location and lifestyle match those expectations. On the other hand, buyers who prefer a more residential setting while remaining close to Folsom and within reach of Sacramento may find the arrangement very appealing. Number 5, outdoor access is part of the experience. The gorgeous rolling terrain, open space areas, parks, trails, and proximity to Folsom Lake help distinguish El Dorado Hills from flatter communities closer to Sacramento. The El Dorado Hills Community Services District manages hundreds of acres of parkland and open space, along with recreation facilities and community programming. Nearby Folsom Lake State Recreation Area offers opportunities for activities including hiking, biking, picnicking, camping, boating, paddleboarding, horseback riding, and many other water recreation. However, close to Folsom Lake can mean different things depending on the home. A property may have a lake view without having simple neighborhood access to the shoreline. Water levels also change throughout the year, which can affect the appearance of the lake and the recreational experience. Always verify the actual driving route to the entrance trail, marina, or recreational area you expect to use. Don't just rely on the view from the listing photos or the distance shown on a map. Number 6, the purchase price is only one part of the budget. El Dorado Hills buyers need to compare the complete ownership cost of each property. Depending on the home and the neighborhood, expenses could include HOA dues, Mello-Roos, taxes or other special assessments, landscaping, pool maintenance, higher utility usage, gate fees, or costs associated with maintaining a larger or sloped lot. El Dorado County maintains information about its Mello-Roos community facilities districts, but the taxes and assessments affecting individual property must be confirmed specifically. Insurance should also be investigated early, not after you have emotionally committed to the house. California's insurance market has changed considerably, and availability and pricing can vary based on the individual property, location, construction, surrounding vegetation, roof, property access, and the insurer's own underwriting requirements. The California Department of Insurance provides consumer information and zip code level policy data, but only an insurance professional can quote the specific property you are considering. So before removing your insurance contingency, obtain an actual quote for the specific address. Don't just assume the cost will be similar to another home a few streets away. And number 7, school boundaries must be verified by address. Buyers often search for homes using a school name displayed on a real estate website, and while that information can be helpful as a starting point, it should never be treated as the final answer. El Dorado Hills addresses can be served by different elementary and secondary school districts, and boundaries or assessments can change. Oak Ridge High School is located in El Dorado Hills and is part of the El Dorado Union High School District, but buyers should verify every current school assignment directly with the relevant districts before purchasing. The purpose is not to label one school or district as better than the other. It is to make sure that the official assignment matches your expectations and that you understand any enrollment, transportation, transfer, or boundary considerations. And here's how I would approach an El Dorado Hills home search. Instead of beginning with random online listings, I would divide the search into 3 steps. First, choose the lifestyle and location. Decide how close you want to be to Highway 50, the town center, Folsom, recreation, work, and your normal routine. Second, choose the property experience. Compare established versus newer construction, gated versus non-gated neighborhoods, larger versus more manageable lots, and private versus shared amenities. And third, compare the complete numbers. Review the property taxes, special assessments, HOA documents, insurance quotes, estimated utilities, and likely maintenance, not just the mortgage payment. El Dorado Hills can offer breathtaking scenery scenery, distinct neighborhoods, outdoor access, community amenities, and a location that connects the Sacramento region with the Sierra foothills. But the best home here is not necessarily the one with the biggest view or the most impressive listing photos. It is the one whose location, monthly costs, property characteristics, and daily routine work together for you. If you're considering moving to El Dorado Hills or anywhere in the Greater Sacramento area, call, text, or email me. My contact information is below in the description, and I would be happy to help you compare communities and find the right place for your move. And before you leave, please be sure to subscribe to the channel because I have more videos coming about El Dorado Hills, Folsom, Roseville, Rocklin, Granite Bay, and other communities throughout the Greater Sacramento area.